To mess with. I will, I know that he's going to come in after me, record maybe a day, maybe a week later. If I leave something in his pre-roll, which is what he hears right before his cue, to kind of get him into the moment of the scene, instead of the line that's written, he'll hear me say something like, "Hey, Todd, nice man." We each other all the time. We just call them bombs. And sometimes they're quite filthy. In Italia, there's a scene where France is talking to little brother Italy about the birds and bees. The entire line is like, "Well, actually, but nothing says a that's me ad-libbing a thing. And Todd later heard. And so technically it's in there because that's what they're leaving out. I can't say what it is because this is very for his family brothers, so I can't say all the things that I said, but I can say that Todd recorded the next day and I happened to be there and he came out of the booth and saw me and was like, "Hey, Tatum." There's also in the Alice in Wonderland OVA of Black Butler. You're all like, woo! It like came up and little waves and stuff. There's a scene in the beginning where he's narrating. It's just the silhouette of him Sebastian with the bunny ears in the book. Yes, right there. And he said something and he kind of closes the book and walks away after the whole cast kind of runs by. And in the Japanese, there's nothing. He just says something, blah, 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 and it closes the book, and there's a kind of uncomfortable pause, and all the characters come through, and then Sebastian just follows through. And I just was messing around with Ian, who was directing me, and Sinclair, dear friend, also Bard, who was directing me that day, and I was just like, "Oh, coffee train," and I thought it was hysterical, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, whatever," and they left it in. And as I said earlier, it wasn't really that but when I was working on Steins Gate, there's a really, really intense emotional episode. There's a lot of emotional moments in Steins Gate. There's one in particular that was the hardest for me to do, where I broke down in the booth. I started crying, and the line got really real, and I was just, I'm not going to give too much away, but like basically he's like trying to save his friend's life, and he knows he's having to risk his own to do it. He's just pleading for the life of his friend. Don't do this, don't do this. And it's incredibly wrenching. But the save who originated the role is just flawless. I mean, writing the scene months before it hit the booth, I was crying, and then I was like, "Oh man, under not envy the SOB who's going to act this. Oh crap." And then going to the booth and just having that moment where I couldn't get away from Okabe, the character from Steins Gate, because for the several months we worked on that show, it was about 4 months where the writing and the recording were overlapping. So I would go in for about 8 hours a day because Okabe never shut up. I know part of the work play. Then I would come home after an 8-hour day to a 5-hour script writing session on the same show. So I never got away from Okabe. And finally, during that episode, I think 13, something just snapped. And I'm like, crying and crying. And Colleen Clayton, the show's director, was like, "You need to splash some water in your face. Go get some water or something, because Okabe's got the reins right now. That's a little scary." So she was awesome about it, and I went, and I was like, stuffing my face with like a honey bun out of the And then I came back in the booth ready to do it again, because I figured, we're going to have to do this scene again. But on that, Colleen was like, "No, actually, all that'll work for using it. You don't mind, do you?" And I'm like, "No, that's awesome. Let's not ever do that scene again." If you want to hear J. Michael Tatum having a complete nervous breakdown, to reiterate, episode 13 or 14. Either 13 or 14 on Steins Gate. They all run together. Shut up! I love people are like, "Oh, me." Right?
Alright, so this actually has nothing to do with anime. I just wanted to say that I was watching the very first day of the Olympics, and they had it's the very first day that they're doing team figure skating in the Olympics. And I don't remember their names at all. There was this guy and this lady, and the guy was like really, really tall, and I don't know why, but he kind of reminded me of you. So
I am really, really tall.
I kind of just started busting a gut because then all I could picture was you ice skating. Pretty short and kind of had long hair, and she honestly reminded me of Sharon Steve. And so I'm sitting there just busting a gut, and my brother's like, "What is going on?" I'm like, "Sharon and Tatum ice skating." I'm like, "This is so great." Yeah.
Okay, let me explain to you how that would actually look. And this is when we're both sitting down. She's like, ice skate, and I'm sure she could ice skate circles around me. Anybody could, because I'd be in the middle like, oh. And she just constantly trying to push me over and knocking me down. Seriously. Oh my God. Well, thank you for ruining the Winter Olympics. Appreciate that. You in the back with the katana.
I have the power. Okay, I have a couple of questions. One, I don't know if this has ever been asked, forgive me if it has, but who is your least favorite character you've ever voiced?
I won't ever answer that question. I honestly don't have one, and here's the reason why. It's a good question, though, because I get to kind of extrapolate on my philosophy of why acting is so much fun. I am, let's face it, in reality, a crazy person. I am just a guy in a padded room making silly voices. And at some point, they decided to start paying me for it. So, what I get to do for a living is enormously fun. I mean, acting is fun. It's hard work much of the time, of course, but it's fun. It's really fulfilling work. Even the days where I want to pull my hair out because it's just been tough, you know, I still think, my God, this is so much better than my crappy job at the ad agency where I worked for a number of years. And the job I didn't like very much because I just wasn't cut out for it. I never fun doing the same stuff with me. And so I look at it this way. If I'm having one of those days and I hate the show I'm working on, and I hate the character I'm voicing, I'm in the wrong business. Because as an actor, my job is to bring my imagination to the table. And if I can't explain what I'm doing, even if it's Soldier A who likes to freeze and immediately gets shot and dies, which has happened frequently in my career. I've played so many Soldier A's and B's, like I've lost count, but I love it. It's so much fun. Even if that's the case, if I hate what I'm doing, that's a failure of my own imagination. And I owe it to not just myself as a person, because life is too damn short, but to all of you who are so enthusiastic and encouraging in this. Like, how big of a douche would I be if I'm like, oh my God, I know all of you would kill yourself to be in this booth right now, but I hate it. Like, that's an asinine thing to do. And I've not met many actors who feel that way, that hate anything they've worked on. Like, it's so fun and what we get to do, and we know that whatever you're working on, you never know what it's going to mean to somebody else. I've had people come back to me and say, oh my God, your character in this show that for me was like maybe an afternoon of recording, and I've forgotten about it. This person will say, oh God, it means so much to me. Like, you just never know. So I think it's, life is fun. Life is, for me, one big play, and like all plays, it's honestly serious. So I do, and I enjoy it. So thanks for asking that question.
I have two questions.
You had a follow-up.
Okay, my follow-up question is, I don't know if this would be very your colleagues or whatever, but is there anyone of your voice acting colleagues that you admire most? Someone you really respect?
Oh, I do. I admire quite a few of them. I think, oh God.
I don't want you to single out any friends, but...
Yeah, we all become friends, of course, in this business, because it is kind of a niche industry, so we get to know each other pretty well. We do cons together, and we get to know each other like as family after a while. And Todd and I, for example, Todd and I go way back. Really, we started playing opposite each other almost from the beginning of our careers. We started about the same time. I think Todd may have started a little earlier. But so we played so many different types of pairings over the years. I think we ran they won't play at the same time. And me too, because I'm not waiting to go. But for Todd, I admire. I think Todd is wonderfully funny and really good at what he does. Brina, likewise, I learned a lot from Brina. I got cast her. opposite in so many things, like Bicycle and Sebastian and CL are great, a couple of characters. I mean, I think you learn a lot from the people you work with the most, I find. And so I'm a huge fan of a lot of people. In terms of someone I've never actually gotten to work with, but someone I know fairly well and have met in numerous cons, his whole approach to his fans and to his supporters is amazing. And I've learned a lot from Steve Bloom. Absolutely, he's an astonishing actor. I mean, he's got a very unique voice, but despite this being such a unique voice, it's so different every time he uses it. Like he's an actor in the sense that I think all of us strive to be characters. You get the voice actor playing this character, and you just fall in love or compelled in some other way by the character. And so I was always really a fan of the movie before I had any designs getting in this industry. And so when I got a chance to meet him at a con about 5 or 6 years ago, I was nervous. I thought, oh my God, I hope he's not an asshole. Because you never know, I mean, right? We've all met people that we looked up to, or maybe we caught them on a bad day, and sometimes it's me, and you're like, oh, it happens. I have my bad days. People steal my cookies. Whatever. You never eat it. But Steve Bloom, I met him that weekend, and he was just absolutely like the sweetest guy. He was like, all of us were just hanging out at this bar, and he was like, hey, what is that? And I watched him with fans, and how just genuinely personable he was with all of them, and I was just like, he's a good person. It's not an act, it's just him. He's one of those people, and there's a lot of people in this industry like that. That's the cool thing about it. I think most of us tend to be, pretty easygoing, fun to be around people, because those who aren't tend not to work very long. We tend to, in this business, it's true of any business, but especially this one, if you're a jerk, they'll find someone else who can do what you're doing who's nicer. I've met a lot of really amazing people, and I continue to every day. A lot of them have been you guys. A lot of people I meet just 3 conventions. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I can't kick Matt Collins down the stairs and use this little montage. I mean, I've been given pieces of art or seen costumes or been read poetry by people that just brings me to tears. And you guys' creativity and the fact that you do it for us just blows my freaking mind. I will never, ever get used to it, and I never want to. I think it's just fantastic. It's just constantly energizing.
Thank you.
I heard a term that you had punched a clown at an amusement park, but now you've heard this story.
Okay, so for any of you that have a deep, dark phobia, I'm going to give you a good piece of advice. Never, ever tell your friends what it is. I wish to God 5, 6 years ago when I started telling people that I suffer from colpophobia, which is this really weird sounding name for phobia of clowns, which I suffer from. Don't test me, I swear to God. If I've done so, you'll have died. I wish I had gone back in time before I started admitting to this. Like, you know what I'm scared of? Money. Lots of cash. I'm almost terrified. No, I have to be honest. You're like, oh, I'm scared of clowns. So not everybody loves to just, poke me with that. Including Mike McFarland, who very frequently comes up behind me at the urinal. It's like, long before I was a voice actor, I was at an amusement park. I was about 22 years old at the time. And I was at this amusement park. It's like a Halloween theme park. You pay a flat rate to go to all these little cheesy haunted houses, like there's a hayride and all these like free-range spooks that jump out behind trees and things like that. It's really fun, right? I like being scared. I think it's fun. Let's clap. Then we're playing for keepsies. So I went with a couple of friends, and I might have had a little bit of drink. I was learning French at the time. We were going around having fun at this park, and these 2 of the guys that were there, the part of the park experience, were clowns. There was like a tall fat one and a short fat one. And they were Oh, the worst one. Like the rainbow hair, demon mask, the big cartoon gloves and the hula hoop waistline, the pom-pom button. Oh, yeah, oh my God. Oh, no. And of course, I see them about 20 odd yards away, and I react. I'm like, oh God, oh God, oh God. Because now they're like, oh, well. So for like a good hour or two, bastards kept following us everywhere. Get in line for like, for 100 houses, and be like, don't turn around, don't turn around. And they would always stand just far enough away, like the twins in like The Shining. So I was dealing with this crowd all night, and I was drunk, rather, and getting upset. And I have, like most people, when you're in panic mode, you have the flight or fight response. You run for your life, or you just start ludicrously windmilling. Get something and don't die. I was in line for some lemon ice. My friends were like, "You make this over there. This is embarrassing." I'm like, "It's not going to make a difference if I'm sober." Oh, they're there, about 20 feet away or so. And they keep looking. And I look. And finally, just stop looking. Stop looking. And I take their advice. And finally, I'm here. Clown's over there, let's say. I finally take one last look. And I'm just like, knowing they're back there, but not being able to see them is worse. Second look, and then that's worse. I was like, okay, one more time, and they're gone, and they're not gone. And then one of them just like made eye contact right at the same exact time. He pulls one of these and just got like a little horn on his belt and he's like, something clicked, and I was just like, I mean, two big burly guys came over and picked me up at their farm, and I was like being a complete jerk about it. I was like, I wouldn't want to be on the ground. I was like, no, you have to carry me. I just have to go. And my friends were like, we're going to continue enjoying the park for a little while. You can just sit your happy ass out. He's like over in the corner going, and I'm like, the rest of the night, me just sitting on the car with my friends, waiting for them to get out of the park. Yeah. Moral of that story: don't get a car. There you go.
Can you say in Scar's voice from Brotherhood, I want to ride the pink unicorn with the Texas lynx neck?
Okay. Why? What's happening? What's going to happen? Is that like a magical spell?
So I'm referring to that I saw some of the cutscenes from when you were Scar and the Brotherhood dude, and it's just funny hearing you say random lines sometimes.
I want to ride a pink unicorn with
No, he didn't say that, but it's mostly the Chimera lines.
My favorite Scar line is the shake weight. Every day. I want to ride the pink Pegasus with the unicorn. No, I screwed up.
First off, I got to be in the club receiving end our play. I got to play Scott Carcass. Second, I just been really, really wanting to hear you say, what was it?
I am simply one hell of a butler and a fashion designer.
Okay. First of all, you can't ask, you have to order the best. So, your best impression of Sale, I need to hear you order. Come on, you can do it, you can do it. Deep breath. Together, love. We're this together.
I order you to say, I am simply one hell of a butler and Sebastian
It's my birthday today. I was wondering if you could sing happy birthday to me in Sebastian's voice.
I'm not a very good singer. How about can everyone help me? Everyone help me. What's your name, though?
Tanisha.
Tanisha. Tanisha. Happy birthday. Ready? Da.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tanisha. Happy birthday to you. Actually, don't. Sorry. Favorite doctor, companion medicine.
Oh, okay, that's a favorites question, but I have an answer. I grew up watching Tom Baker. Well, my first doctor, and your first doctor is always going to be your favorite piece, in a sense. Tom Baker is like the most iconic because he had the role for like 7 years. And it's just, that was just him being Tom. So thereafter, every time you see him, he's still pretty much the doctor. Like in interview, years later, he's still like, he just comes across like that character. He'll be the first to tell you, that was just Tom, Tom. And, he was awesome. That scarf and that huge shitty grin, which is just like, oh, I love it. The other thing, I've got his role with Tom. But having gone back now, all these years later, and seeing all the original stuff, and I have seen I'm a fan. It's not short for please believe with something. It's short for So I started watching this stuff. My favorite doctor, if I had to choose, was Patrick Troughton. The reason being is because I think the show changed into the show we know now under his reign. Reign is quite the right word. But he was the first actor, understand, to have to take up the reins of that character as a new idea. Like the whole idea of regeneration had never been tested before. It was something they did for Billy Hartnell. Was simply too sick to continue playing the role. And I thought, oh hell, he's an alien. Let's just say he regenerates into kind of a new personality and see what happens. And no one expected it to survive another season like that because everyone was rightfully for Hartnell. And once Hartnell was in it, he was like, well, it's not the doctor anymore, is it? It's not, whatever. But such an amazing actor. He did such whimsical and really, really fun things with the role that were he not as amazing an actor as he was, may he rest in peace, he actually died. Yeah, right, but that's commitment. If he hadn't been the actor he was, we wouldn't be talking about Dr. Who now. The show would have died at 4 years old for that. So I think it's great. He was also, his portrayal of the role is more my type of doctor, and his take very much informed Baker, and very much informed Sylvester McCoy, another favorite. Very much informed Matt Smith, who's my favorite of the new guys. So I love Tennant, and I love that role. I love all of them. There's not a single doctor I hate, because I consider them all really the same character. Just it's fun to consider. But Troughton just had this sense of fun and whimsy and playfulness and cosmic hobo. So he wears Hartnell, who was born, he was very patrician. He was like grumpy grandfather. They used to call him old grumpy or sinister father. That was my favorite moniker. Well, bear in mind, the doctor's first companions were kidnapped. Because they stumbled into the TARDIS and said, well, you're not going anywhere. So I'm like, doctor, our little brother. But so he played it very stern, very grumpy, whereas Travel came on, and Travel was like the crazy uncle we all know and love that shows up at your birthday party with like ridiculous gifts that make no sense. Like, here's kayak lessons. Thank you, I'm 8. I mean that kind of everything is just wonderful. And he, whereas Hartnell, he didn't like the sci-fi angle quite so much. He was much more old theater, you know, Doyle Allison. He much preferred the costume dramas. Let's go back in time and to the Victorian era or the Aztecs or what have you. Travel, on the other hand, was like, oh my God, yes, let's do monsters and let's go to ice planets and let's tie them in all of it. So the show, and what we know of now, really kind of began to take shape under Travel as the Doctor first. And so Travel again. So I go back to that era as having given us some of the really great tropes of Doctor Who. It's still, this is 50, almost, well, 50 years ago. So Travel, definitely Travel. I met a guy. Doing that. I met a guy at a convention a couple of years ago who was actually at the convention that when I told the same story, and my family came up to me on autograph line and said, yeah, thank you for saying that. I was actually in Almacon's autograph line, and I was like, I don't want to try this stuff. Really cool. Okay, now. You waving your arm like you're about to take off.
I just wanted to know, what is the weirdest question anybody's ever asked you?
Yeah. That's hard to think about. I've had some pretty weird questions.
Oh, and here's another weird question. What do you smell like?
Well, I now have an answer to your first question. I smell like wool, Axe body spray, and a lot of bad choices made early on. You went there, you got it.